You're tuning into the deep dive because, well, you want to get to the good stuff quickly, right?
Yeah.
You're looking for that shortcut to really understanding things without all the extra noise.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into a YouTube video that's been making waves. Mark Tilbury's How to Actually Make Money Online. No BS guide.
Yeah, sounds promising. Our mission here really is to pull out the core actionable steps he presents, based on his actual experience.
We're trying to cut through any hype and focus on what he genuinely thinks moves the needle for making money online.
And Mark Tilbury, he's interesting because he's not just some theorist. This guy was apparently a self-made millionaire with traditional businesses back in the mid-90s.
Right, before the internet really blew up. And then it did, and his whole world changed. He had to adapt.
And he managed it. He built significant online success after that whole disruption. So his perspective, it carries some weight,
Definitely. He's seen both sides, pre-internet business, internet business. He gets the big shifts because he lived through one successfully.
So this deep dive, it's kind of like getting the highlights of his journey, learning from what worked, but also, maybe just as importantly, learning from the mistakes.
The lessons learned, yeah. Okay, so where does he start?
He lays out this framework, calls it the online wealth wheel. Think of it like stages on a journey.
Okay.
And stage 1 is no side hustle. And get this, he reckons about 55% of people are actually right here.
Wow. 55%, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, doesn't it? You might be there yourself or know people who are.
For sure. And the barrier. He says it's often just how overwhelming and confusing the online space is. So many promises, hard to know where to start.
It's like information overload.
Yeah.
Too many shiny objects promising quick riches, and you end up doing nothing. Paralysis by analysis, kind of.
Exactly. So his advice for getting out of that stage is starting smart, choosing something that actually fits with you, your skills, your budget, your lifestyle.
Makes sense. Don't try to be someone you're not right out of the gate.
Right. And he points to 2 main paths initially. First, sell skills you already have.
Oh, like what?
Things like video editing, graphic design, maybe coding, or even setting up Discord servers, stuff people actually pay for.
Yeah, okay. If you've got a skill, the internet connects you to people who need it. That feels like a lower risk way to start, doesn't it? No massive investment needed up front.
Totally. But what if you feel like you don't have those skills, or maybe you just don't want to deal with clients directly?
Okay, yeah, good question.
That's his second path, selling products online. But, and this is key, he focuses on doing it without holding the inventory yourself.
So like drop shipping or similar models, where you don't have boxes piling up in your garage.
Pretty much. It avoids that big upfront cost and risk of buying stock that might not sell. A more modern approach, he calls it.
Right, less initial capital needed, which leads us nicely into stage 2 of his wheel.
Stage 2, running a failing side hustle. This is where you are doing something, but maybe making less than, say, $50 a month.
Ouch. Been there. He says about 28% of people get stuck in this phase.
Yeah, it's a common frustration point. And Tilbury's take is pretty blunt here. He suggests it's often not the method itself that's failing.
What is it then?
It's usually a lack of consistent effort, often because of what he calls shiny object syndrome.
Ah, yes. Shiny object syndrome, I know it well. Constantly jumping to the next big thing.
Exactly. He gives examples like, trying dropshipping for a week, then switching to print on demand, then thinking Amazon KDP is the answer, then maybe dabbling in stocks, then starting a social media agency.
Right, never sticking with one thing long enough to actually see if it works. You just keep starting over.
And his point is crucial. All those methods can work. Dropshipping, print on demand, agencies, they're all viable.
But they need commitment, time, and focus.
Right. He uses this analogy like miners giving up digging just inches away from the gold.
That's a good one. They quit too soon and just start digging somewhere else, repeating the cycle.
So the fix for stage 2, pick one method, something relatively simple to start, something that can scale, and just stick with it.
Commit.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he recommend anything specific for beginners without, say, high-income skills to sell?
He does. He strongly leans towards e-commerce for beginners. But again, the modern, streamlined version.
Using platforms like Shopify.
Exactly. And he even mentions using AI tools to help build the store. There's one he names buildsyourstore.ai, says it's free.
Interesting. So the tech makes setup easier.
Apparently, yeah. You give it your name, email, pick a niche like fashion, tech, pets, whatever, and the AI supposedly helps pick products, designs the store.
So it lowers that initial barrier of actually building the website. And it works with Shopify.
Yeah, integrates with Shopify.
Yeah.
He mentions they often have those $1 a month trials to get started too. Makes it pretty accessible.
Okay, so setting up the store is getting easier, but the real challenge is making sales, right? That's where people often give up.
Totally. And he says people bail because they worry about inventory, shipping, all that logistical stuff.
The day-to-day grind of running a product business.
So his solution there is a tool called AutoDS. Have you heard of it?
I have, yeah. It automates a lot of the drop shipping process, right?
That's what he describes. Helps find trending products, updates pricing, images automatically, and handles shipping directly to the customer.
So it basically takes the inventory management and fulfillment off your plate.
Exactly. Which frees you up to focus on the crucial part, getting traffic and making sales.
Which is still the hard part. How do you get traffic?
He highlights one free tactic, making TikTok videos about your products. Simple, engaging videos.
Leveraging organic social media reach.
Yeah, and he gives this example, like if a TikTok gets 100,000 views and maybe only 1% convert.
Okay, so 1,000 sales.
Right, and if you make, say, $10 profit per sale, that's $10,000 revenue from potentially free TikTok views.
It shows the potential scale, even with low conversion rates, if you can get eyeballs on your stuff.
So the advice for stage 2 boils down to commit to one simple automated model like this AI-assisted Shopify and AutoDS setup and focus on traffic. Stop the jumping around.
Got it. Break out of that failing loop by focusing and automating.
Okay.
Okay, what's next? Stage 3.
Stage 3, running a successful side hustle. This is when you're consistently making more than $50 a month. And he reckons only the top 16% or so reach this level.
Okay, so getting here is a big deal. You've cracked something. What separates this group, according to Tilbury?
He breaks it down into 4 key steps for people at this stage or trying to get here. Step 1, stop trying to appeal to everyone.
Niching down. Focus.
Exactly. He argues it's way more effective to have a narrow focus. Really define your ideal customer.
Like, who are they really? Age, interest, problems they have?
Yeah, what content do they watch? Where do they hang out online? Get super specific.
It's easier to get one person's attention if you know who they are, rather than just shouting into a void. Makes sense.
That's his analogy, pretty much. Easier to whisper in the right ear than shout at a crowd. Okay, step 2.
Step 2, stay consistent.
Right. He sees people get that initial burst of motivation, things start working a little, and then they vanish.
Yeah, the initial excitement wears off, or life gets in the way.
But he hammers this point. Consistency over perfection. Small actions every day are key.
Not necessarily huge efforts, but regular ones.
Exactly. Things like post some product content daily. Engage with comments and messages, maybe tweak your product descriptions or test new images. Just keep the engine running.
Build momentum through steady effort. Okay, step 3.
Step 3 is critical. Show, don't just tell. He thinks this is a massive marketing mistake people make.
How so? What does he mean?
They don't clearly demonstrate the benefits of the product. Why should someone actually buy it?
Okay, give me an example.
He uses custom gaming controllers, saying just showing gameplay footage on a link isn't enough.
Right, that doesn't tell me much about the controller itself.
Exactly. You need to show the controller up close, point out the features, the paddles, the trigger stops, and then explain the real benefit.
Like how it actually helps you play better.
Precisely. Faster reaction time gives you an edge over players with standard controllers. He even suggests comparing it side by side with a regular one.
Okay, so the customer needs to clearly see it, understand it, and grasp why it's better for them. Make the value obvious.
You got it. And step 4 for a successful side hustle. Build trust with social proof.
Crucial online. People are wary of buying from unknown brands.
We all are, right? You look for reviews, ratings.
Definitely. So how do you build that trust?
He gives practical tips, like order your own product, film an unboxing video, show the quality.
Okay, that's smart. What else?
Ask friends or family for honest reviews. Even a few bits of feedback are better than nothing to start. And crucially, showcase real people using the products.
Right. Get away from just using stock photos if you can. Real people, real experiences build more credibility.
Exactly. Helps potential customers feel more confident hitting that buy button.
So those 4 steps, narrow focus, consistency, showing benefits, building trust, that's the core of stage 3. What about the very top? Is there another level?
There is. He calls it stage 4. Running an elite side hustle. The top tier. Less than 1%, he estimates.
Wow, the top 1%. What's the secret sauce there?
It boils down to one main thing. Reinvesting profits back into the business.
Not just taking the money and running. Yeah. Or, buying fancy things.
Exactly. Resisting that urge, especially early on, he argues that reinvesting is how you make your money make more money.
And you have more control over that reinvestment in your own business compared to, say, the stock market, especially when you're starting.
That's his point. You can directly influence the outcome. So where should you reinvest?
Good question. Tools. Ads.
Both. He mentions upgrading tools to save time and scale up operations. Also, investing in customer acquisition, running ads, testing content, maybe small influencer collaborations.
Makes sense. Feeding the growth engine.
And one more thing. Outsourcing. Starting to delegate small tasks.
Even early on.
Yeah, he suggests getting into that mindset early. Maybe hiring someone on Fiverr for a logo or paying a friend to film some content. Little things that free up your time for higher level stuff.
Start thinking like a business owner, not just a hustler. Build systems.
Precisely. And Tilbury's final thought on this is that thinking about reinvesting those first profits, prioritizing that, is what really separates that top 1% from everyone else.
That's a powerful idea. It's about long-term building, not just short-term cash.
So let's wrap this up. Tilbury's online wealth wheel gives us this map, right? From starting out, maybe feeling stuck.
Yeah, navigating that failing stage, often by beating shiny object syndrome and just committing.
Then building something successful through focus, consistency, really showing your value, building trust.
And finally reaching that elite level, which hinges massively on that mindset of reinvestment, plowing profits back into scale.
The advice feels really grounded. Pick something aligned with you, commit, use automation where you can, understand your customer, build trust.
And treat it like a real business from early on, especially with reinvesting. It's about sustainable growth.
So here's something to chew on as we finish. Thinking about Tilbury's stages, where do you feel you are right now on that online wealth wheel?
Good question for reflection.
And maybe more importantly, what's just one small, consistent thing you could realistically do, maybe even today, to move yourself a little further along that path?
Yeah, what's that next small step? That's your deep dive takeaway.
Thanks for diving in with us.